For numbers 8 through 10, they want us to determine the missing information needed to prove that our triangles are congruent using the given theorem or postulate. I love these types of questions. So basically what they've done is they've given us two triangles, DUT and SUT, and they want us to determine, make these congruent based on angle, side, angle. So they've given us our two pieces. We know angle DTU is congruent to angle STU. That's one thing we know. They've also stuck a shared side in there. So we also know that UT is congruent to UT based on the reflexive property. So when I look at the image I've got, because I want it to be angle, side, angle, and my side is going to touch, if I look at the S in the equation, and that bell was really loud that time, the S is going to touch both congruent angles. So the only way this works is to make angle DUT congruent to angle SUT. That is the only way to create angle, side, angle. If I would have done angle D and angle S, I would have created angle, angle, side. So if I've got angle, side, angle, that UT, that side, needs to touch both of the congruent angles. So I know angle DUT needs to be congruent to angle SUT to make it work based on angle, side, angle. Number 9 is an easy one. They hit us with a side, side, side. Side, side, side means I have three congruent sides. So when I look, they've already told me RQ is congruent to DS. And they also stuck another one of them their shared sides on top of us. So we can assume QS is congruent to QS. So we've got two congruent sides. I need a third one to have side, side, side. And of course, since a triangle's only got three of them, it kind of eliminates all we need to know. So my third congruent sides need to be RS is congruent to QD, or DQ, sorry. So DQ, poor Dan Quinn. And then our last one, number 10. Now it wants to be angle, angle, side. But they didn't show me anything right off the jump. But they still gave me two parts. So remember, these little arrowheads, guys, that means parallel. So if I'm parallel, and I look for that cool, we think back to Unit 2, and anytime something made a Z with parallel lines, because DB is the transversal here, that always creates, with parallel lines, a congruent angle. So we know D is congruent to that B right there. So that's one of our givens. They're sneaky. They kind of snuck it in on us, but ADB is congruent to CBD. All right, another one they snuck in on us is, hopefully by now we're starting to recognize them a lot easier, is that shared side. So we know BD is congruent to BD based on the reflexive property. So now we've got an angle and a side that are congruent. So all we need left is to find another angle. So again, the biggest difference, if I look at angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle, in angle, angle, side, the S only touches one of the A's. So our congruent third angle, our second congruent angle, can only touch one of the congruent angles here. So this is one, this is the second. Since we've already utilized one of my angles that touches, That means my next congruent angle needs to be away from my congruent side. So that gives us angle A and angle C.